Hey, everybody, welcome back into the Lettermen Lounge. It's a Monday at Roosters. It's time for a fun, casual conversation about Ohio State and probably, I don't know, a bunch of weird tangents along the way as well. It's Justin Zwick, Nicole Cox, Bobby Carpenter, Spencer Holbrook, and I am Austin Ward. What a fantastic weekend in Columbus, Ohio. How did everybody enjoy the actual arrival of spring on a weekend, not just a Wednesday when we can't go take advantage of it? Nicole, what'd you do?
We were outside the whole weekend. It was amazing. It was so beautiful out. And there was a breeze. We had lacrosse games, so there was a perfect breeze.
Ooh, lacrosse season.
Yes.
Okay. How'd that go?
It was great. It was great. It was intense.
I know the Carpenter family had some big wins over the weekend.
Well, it's always a challenge, and we open up the weekend. And I honestly, the weekend to me, preparing for it starts on Monday.
Yeah.
It's like a game.
That's right.
I have to figure out, hey, who's playing where? What do we have? How's this going to all shake out? What games am I going to try to go to this week? Based upon what I went to last week. Because, with the four kids, we had, 3 soccer games on Saturday, and then 4 soccer games and 3 lacrosse games on Sunday. And so, we got the bonus game because my daughter, they ended up winning their first 3, played in the finals, and thankfully won that. There's nothing worse than getting there and losing. I'd rather lose every game. She gets really angry and salty because she plays keeper, and so if they get beat and they play sometimes, you just get a great team from the other side, and it's so you get a little worried. So I got a little sunburn, got some time out there. Had a camp out Friday night up in Bellefontaine.
Fountain.
Oh, that's fun.
It was good, yeah. It's Camp Wilson up there. We go there every year. Had a good time. Woke up early to drive back to the soccer game over at Darry Fields, Nicole, which they changed the time and didn't tell our team. So that was great.
Wow.
So I got there early.
Trying to sabotage you.
Yep. So I had to wake up at 7 after rolling off 6 hours of sleeping in a prison-style bunk there, smelling like smoke, going straight to the game. It's not till 11. Awesome. We're going to show up at 10:50. We're not going to be here for warm-ups, Coach. We'll be good to go. We'll make sure that we're ready and once gas station ready as we show up. So I got back, and in between going to that and my daughter's game over at Spindler Park in Hilliard, which is tremendous.
Mm-hmm. Those parks, I can't.
The parking over there, I drive my Jeep now, so if I need to drive over the railroad ties that they try to block you in, no, I'm just going to go over and park it right over the top.
Yep.
Right over the top of that thing.
I've done that.
Yeah, you got to.
I can't handle it.
I'm not going to miss my kid's game circling the parking lot trying to find a spot. That's not how it's going to get.
Or looking for the field numbers. I want Roosters to sponsor giant poles being put in with the triangular signs with goal numbers on them. Because
do you know someone who can help make that happen?
I'm working on it. That's pretty expensive. So the park would have to pay for the poles. But I'm telling you guys, walking around those fields it's a journey.
Oh, yeah.
It is an absolute journey.
Life's a journey doing that. Trying to find them. I'm familiar with most of them, but we did go to a new one. It was over by Easton. And thankfully they did have those. They had the stuff up
those ones
elevated.
are great.
Yeah, except for the fact it was waterlogged. And so you deal with all that. But it was good. I mowed the grass, worked out, then went to see my daughter, then went up to St. Henry for Stag Night. And it was a good time. Great. You hadn't done it in a number of years. And
I heard it was super sober up there. I have a friend who made an appearance up there just to catch the wisdom of Bobby Carpenter.
Hopefully he enjoyed the performance.
He did. I asked him to request a story about Schleich.
He did. Oh, gosh, he did. Yeah. They were going over what we're going to talk about.
What story was it?
It was his
biology class?
His first.
That'd have been a good one.
I told him, I could literally fill the whole
the whole time.
They click up on the program. I could fill the whole program with Schleich stories. I told the story of, the
concert with his truck. That's a good one, though.
Gosh, I forgot about that.
I can't find my truck.
I said you got a whole catalog of options here that Bobby can play the hits if you.
I'm gonna have to.
Golly, yeah. You could write a book on Schleich.
There was a point. I'll have to look for it where I'd made a sheet. I do a lot of do some public speaking and stuff, and like to bring it home with some funny stuff and keep it light at times. And I had made a list of all these stories, and I had forgot about the concert one.
The concert one was great.
That's great. But I tell this story because I told on air his first time at Ohio State.
His first visit?
On his visit.
Oh, yes. That's a good one, too.
And it was literally we go there on the corner of Lane and High, and the restaurant, adult bar establishment is no longer there.
Restaurant.
And we ordered hey, our guy Jem brings over a couple of beers. And Schleich is 22, and AJ and I are not quite there yet. We're a little bit younger. And he's like, hey, you got, you're feeling out your recruit. Do you want to have a drink or two? And some people are no. I'm like, all right. So you just want to know, some of these dudes are hey, one kid was like, I'm going to go to a strip club. I'm like, okay, well, you just laid it out there, and so now we're going to do what you want to do. Like, this is where you're host. We're trying to make sure you
have to do what makes you happy.
Standard is the standard.
The standard is the standard. It's just like, he's like, like he came from Air Forces. He kind of buttoned up. I mean, just think about it. It's like his coach.
Not knowing this guy coming from Air Force, like, he's
I think that's why you leave the Air Force.
Well, but he was a really good player, and so he was there. His coach knew Mark D'Antonio really well. I think they coached together at some point, or maybe Mark played for his coach at Air Force, and so it was. It was like, okay, Dino's a really strict dude. This guy's coming from Air Force. He's a Texas guy. Take football really seriously. It's like, hey, do you drink? You don't have a little. Okay. So get a couple. They bring 2 pitchers of beer over. Schleich takes the one and just slides his hand in it, and just like, he's like, are they bringing a third? Exactly. Are they bringing a third? I'm like, okay, guess those are going to be a couple hours, half hour later. Bring around some shots of Jager. Why wouldn't you want that? And it's like 6 or 7 of them. And he's like, you want? And I think it was like walking around to multiple people. And he's like, absolutely. And like it's like 4 of them himself. I'm like, oh gosh, we got a live one now. Like this is gonna be real.
When was the last time, Jay-Z, you had a shot of Jager?
Oh God, college probably.
Wow,
doesn't that sound terrible?
Yeah,
I mean it was bad back then.
Nicole's trying to think.
I
think Nicole had some on the cruise.
No, I did not.
no Jager.
And not Jager this year, but I did shots this year for Mom's Weekend, and it didn't work out.
Mom's Weekend.
Yeah, it just.
Shots
I was like, there's never a good age to do that ever. It's never a good idea, or just shots in general.
Oh, Mom's Weekend. That's right. I forgot.
What if the branding wasn't so good? Like that's the only reason anybody orders it, except for apparently Chives, who's like super excited to talk about Jager.
I have a buddy who loves it, keeps it in his freezer. That's his go-to.
What?
So it makes me throw up thinking about it.
Corey had Jager shots bought for her birthday this past year, and I honestly had never had Jager. I just was like, everybody always told me it's gross.
Did you go to OU?
Tastes like medicine.
Every time he talks about this party school, it just dips.
I drank so much, so many different things. Jager just wasn't on the menu, and so I got handed a shot of Jager.
Many other things.
I took it. Corey, you should have seen her face. It was hilarious. She was so grossed out by it. So there was a second one for her. I was like, oh. Hell yeah, I'll take it. So
I don't mind it, but
I
can.
It's not
anybody
bad.
force it down. But
what I love is the next 3 to 4 years of Nicole's life going to
Mom's Weekend.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson. I learned my lesson.
No way.
Come
Come on.
Oh, I did.
It's
only going to get worse.
You may have learned your lesson, but to quote Sheryl Crow, it may ultimately be your favorite mistake as well.
And you have to learn how to manage it. Get better the next year.
Yes.
It's training.
Yeah.
Training, that's right.
It was like I reverted back, and I was like, well, all the other moms are doing it. I should be fine.
Revert back to your
Revert back to your training.
Everybody else is doing it, Mom. All the other moms.
And then
are
I
doing
left,
My mom
and I was
never
like-
does this, and then your mom you're out there just doing shots.
I was like,
All the
oh my
other
gosh,
moms.
what am I thinking? It was, So I did learn from it, guys.
Yeah.
I learned.
Nicole, you want to be the cool mom. You don't want to be like.
That's how I felt the pressure.
Did you get on the bar?
No.
And then you're
The
good.
old,
I mean,
like-
that's for later on down the road, I guess.
Riley doesn't want the.
Please don't ever let me
The
be
old
that.
curmudgeon-y mom.
I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I remember my dad coming back to a parents' weekend in Wyoming, and both me and my sister were there, and he just got a real look at the experience. And he's like, I'm going to do it. I'm going to I can do it one time, going all out. I don't know. We'll have to ask to see if he regretted it, but that's a priceless experience.
I never got to
Yeah.
do
Go
that
back
with
and
my parents.
and hit up those college bars and go to our poker game and.
My parents were not about that life.
No?
My mom,
No,
my
mine were not.
my dad's like, I had plenty. I did all this
But
once.
your parents came back like every weekend.
Yeah, they were here.
That is
They
true.
would be here,
yeah,
but
they
like
came to games.
they didn't fully tailgate. Some of the parents would really get after it. Mine would come because they're going to watch all my brother's stuff. My dad was still coaching, and so he didn't do any of that. And so I'll never forget walking out my sophomore year and looking at Walt Downing sleeping on our couch, looking like real rough, dude. Wearing, I think, either his or TJ's
big Walt.
Letterman jacket.
Oh.
It was pretty tremendous.
I believe that. Yeah, we never had those opportunities. Or,
Izzy?
I shouldn't say opportunities, but
Get outside this weekend?
yeah, I was outside to power wash the house,
Yeah.
do the back deck,
We're definitely getting
do
older,
the driveway, do the front porch.
No Jaeger out there while you're
The back, actually, I did have a beer at the end of the day yesterday. I sat down and looked at my work. I looked at how
It's a
nice the
great
bricks
feeling.
look after getting that power
It's a
wash
great
on
feeling.
them, and I just took it in. As my wife was walking around, I actually had friends drive by who saw my pregnant wife, picking things up in the front yard with me sitting on the front porch with a beer after I had been out all day, of course.
That's just bad timing.
So they, of course, see my family at a baseball game. They're like, oh, yeah, Justin was having a beer and Ellen was picking things up in the front yard.
Oh.
It's like, I just got done. But, yeah, nice.
Yeah, sure you did.
Nice day around the house. My hands are still vibrating from holding the power washer, because you just keep going, man. It's fun to watch, satisfying.
Yeah.
But after a while, man, your neck and your back just start getting. I'm not made for.
We're getting older, guys. We're just getting older. But man, it is a satisfying feeling.
It is.
I'm so happy for you.
The young kid over here was doing yard work too.
I bought a mower. I mowed twice this weekend.
Twice.
Why did you need to?
Didn't that work the first time?
So
You double cut it? Look at the outfield?
So I
to get
cut
his
it
lines.
diagonally one way, the front yard, and then I put it on the 2, and then I wanted it. It was still a hair too tall, and there were some dandelions that had grown up. So Friday I had
Spray
mowed
it.
it.
Spot treat it.
Yeah, and then Sunday I went the other way diagonally and
Double cut it, dude.
I went out on the road after my work was done. Wow,
Looks
these
good.
lines.
Wow.
Spencer's a grown-up now.
I'll occasionally
He's the oldest one out of the 5.
I'll occasionally double cut too. It looks really good.
I
People act like
I do not. I
People
cut
like,
it and I'm done.
People who does the greatest? Who does your yard? I do it myself. There you go. Tell them that double cut's looking crispy. The problem is that'll be the expectation now. The standard is the standard.
Yeah.
It is the standard.
Yeah, your
The bar has been
neighbors
raised.
are going to see that and be like, man, he's going to have a nice yard all summer long.
Yeah.
So you're going to be out there double cutting.
With a mowed yard and golf played. It was a good weekend.
Goodness.
Great weekend. Hope it stays that way. Hope we're done with. I know the forecast for the next couple of days is not ideal, but hopefully
It's
the
not
weekend-
terrible.
It's over
pretty nice
50. We could still play golf.
Well, 50 is fine. I'll take 50 all
50
year.
and sunny is, I mean,
Shorts and quarter zip weather.
Yep.
That's all I care about. I need it
100%.
all year.
Love it.
Whatever. We're gonna get a beautiful night to go to Roosters on Thursday and watch the NFL draft.
Yeah.
Can't believe it's here.
Not a huge draft class for Ohio State as we've talked about in the past, but that bodes well for the returning team in 2022.
Return of the Mac?
Return, sure. I don't know why the Mac, but
Because that's who
Return to
returns.
the standard.
That's the return. Well, the return.
We actually listened to that
Maybe
song
that's-
this weekend.
Exactly. That's awesome.
But there are going to be some life-changing moments for a couple of Buckeyes, and that'll be fun to watch. See where Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, Thayer Munford, Nick Petit-Frere, Haskell Garrett, where these guys all wind up. A solid group.
Tyreek Smith.
Tyreek Smith. He could shoot up the draft board. Jeremy Ruckert. Those guys will all be involved. Let's see if somebody wants to take a shot on Master Teague as well after his
Master make him say Teague.
boy, his pro day was something
Man, that was
to
special,
behold.
wasn't it?
Yeah. He's a freak athlete, that's for sure. But the same concerns obviously still exist for that. We'll see how teams balance that with their decision making. Nicole, you have to officially say goodbye to your two favorite wide
I know.
receivers here and their
Well,
smiles.
I'm just gonna watch them in the NFL, and hopefully one of them goes to the Texans because they need it.
I
but
don't think you're going to be that fortunate.
I know. What I'm excited for them. I'm excited to it's just fun to sit back and watch their future, just something like this to happen to them. I mean, you're like, okay, this is your moment, and that's why my favorite movie is Draft Day. Because I love
Favorite movie?
No matter what.
Well, I love Kevin
Is that what it
Costner.
was?
I love Kevin Costner, but I love
Handsome
Draft
devil.
Day because of just how that whole movie plays out. Just how the guys their day was made, their lives changed, and it was just really special. And that's this. That's what Thursday is going to be, which is so exciting.
How much do you
I
like?
would not
The
have had
Texans
you.
could get one of those dudes.
I would not have had
You would
Nicole
think.
pegged for a Draft Day fan.
I don't take many people for one.
I've watched
draft day
it.
fan.
I own it. I
What?
love it. Yep, I
got the
own
Blu-ray.
it. We bought it.
Holy
Yep.
Yes,
cow.
you did.
On
That-
Amazon. I watch it on
yeah.
flights all the time.
That
I
is
love it.
probably one of the biggest upsets. I would.
That's a big one, yeah.
I mean, where do you rank that on Kevin Costner's sports movies? I mean, do you like For the Love of the Game better?
Oh, I don't even know if I like any other really
Field of
sports
Dreams?
movies. I just love that one.
Bold
I don't
Girl?
know. I just love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number one is clear.
Yeah.
10 Cup.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Tin
I
Cup.
didn't think,
I need
yeah,
to
Tin
watch
Cup
that.
for sure.
I need to watch
Oh,
that.
you haven't seen that?
No, but
You need to
somebody
get
was
on that.
No.
somebody brought that up
Oh,
to me.
God.
You've watched Draft Day 100 times and 10 Cup 0?
I know.
That's
Yeah, you
Don,
got-
Don Johnson's in it, for heaven's sake.
Okay,
It's
you
great.
have homework this
I
week,
do.
Nicole.
I do.
That's-
But I think too, I love watching the business of that day. I loved watching just how he was just really struggling. And then it turned out amazing.
See,
and you're like,
Imagine
yes.
that, the Hollywood ending.
Tin Cup.
Just as it always does for the Browns.
Yeah,
That was
exactly.
It's
Yeah.
a business move.
No,
it's
100%.
a business move. And it just shows no matter how bad things, you can you can try to spin. There's a chance, you know.
So you'll love, if you like that, you'll love the ending of Tin Cup.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay, I'm watching it this week. I'll watch it tonight.
No spoilers, Bob.
Yeah.
I didn't know that we'd have to have a 30-year warning on spoilers for Tin Cup today, but here we are.
Nicole honestly might start crying at the end of the movie.
Oh, 100%
I can't believe
Is it sad?
No, it's great.
It's uplifting.
It ends up being all
Why
good.
not take your par and get out of there?
Okay.
You'll love the. Oh.
We used to watch that in my golf team in high school, but I would make sure that we turned it off before the 18th.
Before that.
No.
Oh.
Because it's all
Wait,
good mentally.
That's not in your
until-
mindset.
Exactly.
You're gonna go drop, okay?
Uh-huh.
If you're in this situation to win the state
We're going to play
championship,
up.
Ball.
Nah,
Yeah.
not Pards. I'm not giving you that ball.
Your last one, Coach.
We're going to lay up and we're going to chip
You-
over
Okay.
the
You've
water.
got to
and-
watch it.
We're going
I'm just
to
going to stop it at the ending,
Bronson
too.
would like.
No, it's still a good ending, but it wasn't a great message for a golf.
No, it is. It's the message of persistence,
That's not.
consistency. In this, here's the. I would listen.
In the face
you're-
of stupidity.
you're aware of this now. I mean, you're dealing with some things where, in spite of like the smart move, the safe play, overwhelming evidence and odds against you, you choose ball.
To just keep whacking the 3-wood.
You
Yeah.
can drop it up there, ball, right here. Give it to me. Like it's
I don't think those situations are exactly the same, but we'll just leave that.
Yeah.
Leave that there. JC, who do you have your eye on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, trying to get a nice little draft landing spot?
Well,
well.
the first round is all we get Thursday night, right? So, I mean, our two only real options are the wideouts. I think we'll probably, depending on what the teams need, I mean, if it's needed in that top 10, I think we might see those guys go, just because I think you've seen the receivers come out of really any position, but guys who are elite who come out, at that position immediately have impact in the NFL. So I think a lot of these teams are going to look at the Terry McLaurins, the Mike Thomases, and just say, man, we know what they're doing up there, so they might go up and try. And I mean, you said not the Texans, they got 3 and 13. So I mean, she might get her wish and get one of them.
That'd be so
You don't get
cool.
one of them.
You guys,
not at
I'd
3
be buying
probably,
a jersey
but
that day. I'd be just creating my own jersey.
But no, I don't think that'd be ideal for either of those two. I don't wish to send them to a place that has.
I think that's the
David
interesting
Mills
part for Garrett Wilson is like the higher that his stock climbed, the worse maybe potential landing spot you'd be. Like I actually was talking to his mom last week about the process, and I said, I just hope and pray for you all that he doesn't go to the Jets. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, like, do you have anywhere you want him to go? No. I'm like, well, I hope he doesn't go to the Jets, and she's just like, no comment. Like, please keep Garrett Wilson out of
check
New
is
York.
going to clear no matter.
Well,
but
that's right.
As far as them going out and having success, it always stinks because you do see those guys in the room waiting to go in the end of the first round. It's like they're usually in better positions.
Well, because that's
because they're on better teams, right?
And that's what I think could happen with Olave, and we'll see as you get closer to Thursday and teams start talking about trades. Bob, this business and that part of it. Like, how much shuffling will there be in the first round? If everyone's trying to move back, does somebody want to go
you
up?
have to have
get Olave?
somebody move up.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Like, well, maybe somebody there'd be because Olave could be one of those players between like 10 to 17.
He's right there in the teens. I think if there's going to be movement, I would anticipate it being probably within 10 to 20.
10 to 20, yeah.
Because at the top, people want to get back, but what they're getting offered is not going to warrant most teams moving unless they're like, hey, it's better than this. We don't love any of these guys. We can get the same player at 15 as opposed to 5. Mm-hmm. So I think that could happen around there. I think Garrett probably goes to the top 10. The more I look at this and try to see where people are going, 8 to 12, 13, right in there. And then, Chris probably goes 15 to 25, just depending who's around there and who they like, because everybody likes different things from different players, and that's what this guy's better. I'm like, in your opinion, there's going to be other people that say, with what we do, we like this guy better, and what we need and how it all fits.
Wanting him to do when he gets on the team.
Yes, and that's
better.
That's probably the biggest issue you have is where GMs and coaches, they're not on the same page, and your front office is like, we love these guys, these are our order. Well, this is what we're going to ask these guys to do, so we would like to reshuffle that order, and a lot of times there's not alignment. Then you go to the Jets, and that crap happens. It's like it ruins careers, like where guys go there and you waste away and you don't get in a good spot, and it's like it's hard on you. Yep. It's really hard on you.
I think what makes Olave so much more interesting, and I've said this before, like if you need somebody right away, you're already a contender, and you just need maybe another weapon for Aaron Rodgers or Kansas City or New England to help bring along Mac Jones. I mean, you want Chris Olave because you know that he can help you right now. I think Garrett Wilson has the higher long-term ceiling compared to Olave, but man, so the teams in the top 10 are going to be enamored by what Garrett Wilson gives them, and maybe more patient with him to get to year 2 or year 3. You don't have to do that with Chris Olave. I mean, that guy's going to be ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's why you look at like the Eagles, the Chargers, the Saints, and then the big one is the Packers. And if he goes to any of those 4 situations, I think he could be a 1,200, 1,400-yard receiver.
I love Olave in Green
year.
Bay.
Yeah.
The only thing is it'll be interesting to see if they end up trading for Deebo Samuel, because I think that's the only other wrench that we could see. That might be the big domino that happens.
That might end up putting Olave in an offense in San Francisco that could maybe even be just as good, if not better, for him. So because they like to motion and do a lot of things that Ohio State does, and so maybe it's even better for him if that trade does.
I'd rather go play with Aaron Rodgers than Trey Lance, though.
Whereas a lot of people say that Garrett's going to go in the first round to the Falcons at number 8, and I actually think that's almost a perfect landing spot for him. He has not a great quarterback, not a great defense opposite of the Falcons' offense, and so they're going to have a really high pick next year. So you learn in year 1 with Garrett Wilson, Kyle Pitts, maybe Calvin Ridley in 2 years, and then
who is their quarterback?
They signed Marcus Mariota,
and then the year after that,
the Falcons are like bringing in all these skill players.
Yeah, they got rid of their quarterback.
And then maybe the next year it's C.J. Stroud, or if they're dumb enough to take Bryce Young over C.J. Stroud, I think Atlanta could have the number 1 pick, and then you're talking about Garrett with an elite quarterback 2 years into his career. Both of these guys have the potential to have really good landing spots, or one of them could go to the Jets. I mean,
don't underestimate the Jets' ability to get the number 1 pick, though.
yeah, and then have to restart on another quarterback in next year.
This is one of Spencer's favorite analysis pieces from last year. Was like, I remember he brought it up. I'm like, wow, he's absolutely right. Like the Jets just wound up with this complete free pass. Nobody criticized them at all. Just assumed at number 2 they'd made up their mind, and then everyone just let him go.
Yep.
And everyone started talking about number 3 and the debate and Justin Fields and all this. Like, are we sure? Is it just because it's the Jets and we don't care?
It was
they're going to mess it up no matter what.
It was Trevor Lawrence, and then it's the Jets, and then is it going to be Trey Lance or Justin Fields? It was like, well, let's pump the brakes and go back to 2
because no one really is like one is stumping for their guy to get to that spot either.
Like, they're just like, let them do whatever they want to do.
This is where Fields should go back. No, I'd rather have him go later to somewhere else.
Are you guys sure that that's the second best quarterback on the board?
Yeah.
Well, the Jets said it, and they're going to take him, so we don't even have to worry about it. We can argue about number 2 with the 3rd spot. That's what we're going to get to. Who else that's got a chance to have their life changed on Friday or Saturday are you looking at, Bob?
Oh, goodness. I'm curious because I think he, the injuries and just utilization at Ohio State really hasn't helped him here. So I think he probably could have been a 2nd or 3rd round guy. And if you look at Ohio State tight ends, historically, once they get to the league, they've done a pretty good job, assuming they've stayed healthy. You look at Nick Vannett. Hireman was good while he was healthy. He banged up his knee.
Yep.
I look at
There's another one too. Jacksonville.
Luke Farrell's there now.
The Farrell cat.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the same with the other positions, right? I mean, they see what these guys are able to do when they come in, even though underutilized at Ohio State.
Because Jeremy Ruckert, he wasn't utilized, and then he's been hurt. So, I think what people don't realize, he's a really good athlete. He would have run really well. He would have done some things in a very impressive way. And so your traits, man, this guy has it all. And I've watched him catch the ball well on tape. They just don't really throw it to him. And so you start to figure that out. It's like, I think someone's going to get a great value with him. And I'm excited to see ultimately what he can do. Because Cade Miles is a blocker since he's been here. He's a tough kid. And I think everything that he's done going through this program will really help set him up for success. So excited to kind of see where he goes and hopefully to a system and a scheme that will utilize his skills.
Nicole, you don't have to take their Munford just because he loves Roosters.
I know. He's so great. He's so sweet. I know. No, like I said, I'm just anxious and I'm fascinated. I think that's why I love draft day. I'm fascinated by it. It's frustrating for me, for these guys, that there's just so much out of their control with, one of the guys could be great for the Texans, but maybe they don't need that position right now.
Yeah.
And that's just not fair. And I guess that's how it works, but it's just like all that hard work and everything, but they're still getting into the NFL. And to me, that is still a huge success. And I just hope all these guys find a good place where they're happy and they continue to grow. Even if they're not, getting to play, they're at least being trained very well, because I know that's important too to a lot of them, is to continue to become stronger and better at what they do.
Where's Thayer going to play? Because I read a few things this morning saying guard.
Yeah, I think it depends on where he goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's talked about this, the fact that he showed he could play guard. I
thought that would help him. I didn't know if that was going to be where they would want to plug him in.
I think he looks at it like, I don't know that he's going to go start for anybody in year one.
Yeah.
So if teams are carrying 7 or 8 offensive
you can be a
linemen
utility
total,
guy doing both.
You get to be able to do both. I think that really helps him. So I don't know how early he's going to go. I know that he doesn't truly care about that much, but I would think he would probably be inclined to start at guard. But you have the versatility, which is obviously one of your best attributes when you go into the draft. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, I think that may make him more appealing than Nick Petit-Frere going into this week. We'll see. I don't know how exactly that's all going to play out. Thought Nick could have bulked up a little bit more, and we've talked about his decision before and how thrilled he is just to be part of all that. But I think that Thayer's got a good chance to maybe be the third Buckeye off the board. We'll see what happens there. Tyreek Smith has obviously got the measurables involved in that as well. So I don't know how you see that, Spencer.
Tyreek is the guy I've got my eye on because, I don't compare him that much to Jonathan Cooper because they're completely different players. But I saw a stat that Jonathan Cooper it was like a top 5 grade, PFF grade, of anybody selected day 3 last year in the entire NFL. He was a 7th-round pick, and he ended up latching on in Denver and playing a lot in Denver and having a lot of success. And I think he got robbed from a few sacks.
Yeah.
So Tyreek is a guy who had a lot of injuries. That sounds familiar, Jonathan. He is probably not going to go as high as he maybe could have had his potential been reached, Cooper. And so I just think those factors, it points a lot of directions to, if he stays healthy in the NFL as a rookie, I think he could do really good things. You look at like Jalen Holmes and guys like that, like they've all latched on and had pretty decent careers. I think Tyreek has a chance to do that. Maybe he's not, a Kayvon Thibodeau or a Trevon Walker or even like Aiden Hutchinson, but he's the kind of guy that if you get him in there, you're going to see his training. He's going to revert back to his training, and it's going to show that he was trained under Larry Johnson.
He came from D.
Those guys all have success
not
in the
up north.
NFL. He's going to.
It's definitely not.
Definitely not up north. I mean, he's getting coached by Larry Johnson.
He has a chance, though. I think he's going to. If you get him in the 3rd round, you got to be really happy about that.
I just didn't know that we were going to get in here today and that draft week was the favorite, Nicole's favorite of the year. I really didn't know
that was anybody's favorite movie.
Oh, you guys, I love it.
But now the whole process, like the fictional version and the reality, she's all aboard for this.
Yeah,
it is. It's fascinating, and it's just a lot going on in one. Well, it's more than one day, but that first day, just everybody having to make a decision in a moment, and I don't know. It's exciting.
So now we know that she's going to be getting that Roosters catering on Thursday.
Speaking of,
we might go into
Roosters catering, you can get chips, which are delicious.
Jay-Z,
I enjoyed those so much last week.
So
you guys don't even know. Eric is the man.
Glad.
you shared one to-go canister with me.
I should have got a bigger one. Mike,
You guys should
Allie ate it all before I.
Get out!
I'm like,
way.
what is?
I would have too.
Like, you can't. She's like, aren't these on the menu? Why don't we have these chips all the time? I said no, and now you ate them all. Like I got like 3 chips.
Gotcha.
Hey, I'm going to make note of another recommendation from Allie that she loves them so much and was shocked
there's
they weren't on
another
the
one.
menu.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can add that to the list, Nicole.
Yep.
We're circulating a petition to bring more chips into Roosters.
But
So good.
you don't need them tomorrow.
Oh no,
Not on a Tuesday.
No.
Not on a
Not on a
Tuesday.
Mott Stick Tuesday.
not on
Nope.
my stick Tuesday.
Liberty's going to be pumped.
This is-
Oh, look at that
Austin.
one.
Ooh, a double.
Look at that.
Yep,
Jeez.
that's a giant one.
It's only one Mott
That's a
Stick
big
that's
dog.
connected.
Yeah, well, it's connected.
It's
That's amazing.
Those are going to be $2.
$2 tomorrow.
Jeez.
$2.
You don't want to miss it.
The whole day?
And then Roosters, of
Hold it.
course,
Hey.
will have you covered with some cold beverages, anything you want to eat, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday for
Yes.
the NFL draft. If you're not invited to Nicole's watch party, which I think from like 5 to
Invites
7,
must be going out today because I haven't gotten that one
from
yet.
5 to 7, draft day is going to
short
be on the
notice.
projection screen outside, and then the draft from there.
Yeah, leading up to it won't be any coverage. It'll be draft day. And then once the first pick comes on, we're going over to it.
I'll be nice and
Yeah,
excited
it's gonna
and ready to go.
It's going to go from Costner giving the first pick to the first pick in this year's
And then
draft.
here it comes.
Yes.
Aiden Hutchinson. That'll be a
Oh,
real downer
gosh.
for everybody.
Yeah.
This was great. I'm so glad that Nicole was able to share all this draft insight with us. We're going to let her go about her day. We're going to come back and talk about the current Buckeyes a little bit and some transfer portal action when we come back to Lettermen Live, which is brought to you by Roosters. It's a fun, casual joint.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. But the truth is, it is so much more. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind. It's a front row seat to the big game. It's a place where you will always find a friendly face. And the home of wings so big you won't believe it. It's your family's other dinner table. So yeah, we're a lot of things to a lot of people. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Precision engineering. Rigorous attention to detail. A Bryant Evolution heating system is so well designed, it's as much of a joy to install as it is to use.
Good to go.
For the dealer nearest you, visit Bryant.com.
All right, welcome back into the Lettermen Lounge for the second half of Lettermen Live, brought to you by Roosters. Things have been pretty busy for Ohio State, as you would have expected for transfer portal season, which runs until May 1st. I like this deadline, Bob, that you have to, if you want to play and get your immediate eligibility, you play a fall or winter sport, make your plans by May 1st so that teams and players and everybody can actually get a feel for what's going to happen.
Was that something they did like after enacting it, or was that?
They added it. Spencer, maybe you can. I know it was part of the rules that they put out like a year and a half ago when they approved this step forward. This was going to be.
It was kind of a rule that they snuck in.
Because the first year you didn't have to. The first year it was like July, and then they said, but then moving forward, it's going to be May 1st.
Well, it was coming out of COVID and stuff too, I think. So that I like that. I would be a proponent of saying, hey, you can get in there from, I don't know, because everybody finishes spring ball at different times, April 1st to May 1st. That's your window to enter into the portal. You can then come and go as you please and have an idea about that time, and then probably have something right after the season from, say, I don't know, December 1 to, January 10th or whatever. Pick a date. We're like, okay, we're going to shape this up a little bit around high school recruiting so we know who's coming out, we know where spots are. And if not, you got to get back out. I don't know. You're staying in there at that point.
Well, it's so tough because you have the early signing period with the high school,
Yeah, maybe
well,
that's
right?
maybe you pair it up even with that to have an idea of like, hey,
because that would be better if you know, like, all right, well, we had this hole here, we added somebody, we have one less that we can give.
Well, the thing is, the guy's like, oh, I'm going to get in the portal, see what's out there, and then the coach is like, all right, well, we're going to sign a guy.
Yeah, we're going to go see what's in the portal too.
Doesn't mean you're welcome back. Now, some players have gone in and removed their name, but that's pretty rare. That doesn't happen. The Georgia
occasionally it does, but like you have to be so good that they're going to hold a spot for you.
Well, once you're in the portal, the school does not have to hold that.
They do not have to.
No.
Okay, yeah.
And frankly, I wouldn't.
Well, if I was a school, I'd be like, all right, good, go see you later. We're gonna.
I think that's the other amusing part about the transfer portal is like a walk-on. I feel like you should just automatically live in the portal, transfer portal. Like, why would you not be? If somebody wants to contact you,
give you
a scholarship,
like,
you should just be in there. Like, that's sort of the world we live in. I know there's the counter argument, you should be loyal to the place that gives you a shot and all this other. I mean,
but they're not
fine.
giving you a
scholarship. They're not giving you anything. You're paying to go there.
The other person is. Like, you take that, and you can still stay because there's no financial incentive if you're not on the hook for a scholarship at Ohio State. Like, hey,
you don't count against the 85. Like, it's just
Sam Wiggles.
You're just not going to get your red sweats, and you're not going to be able to tell people on campus.
That's right. Take advantage of it. If someone wants to give you a scholarship somewhere, take it.
Yeah, more power to you. I got no problem with that, with that kind of guy going out and seeing what's going on. But it's an interesting thing. But May 1st, hey, whatever. We'll get it done and see how it goes. I bet there will be tweaks to it, as we go along and kind of see how things work and how they don't. But a couple interesting ones. With Potterly, I thought he might be a good body to have there in the middle, for that defense, the way they like to rotate. And then, some of these young DBs are, I guess, seeing the writing on the wall, huh?
They saw that early.
Yeah.
Because this happened, like, even before spring ball was over, as we talked about a few weeks ago with Legend Cavazos and Bryson Shaw. Now, Andre Turrentine, you add to that. So that's three guys that sort of have seen the way that pecking order is shaping out and the way the competition is going to work. So none of those three qualify as a surprise. Jacoby Cowan was not a surprise. You look at Jay-Z, as you say, Noah Potter. I thought coming out of last spring a year ago when he added a bunch of weight, when he was moving to three technique and got up to 275 pounds, like, well, if he keeps some of that mobility, it's going to be really good. Then, boom, foot surgery. Boom, detached retina, scary deal with emergency surgery.
I read that,
Like, that just derailed everything. And at the same time, you're recruiting at a higher level. Like it actually slipped a little bit for Larry Johnson, and I think you look at the last couple of years why the rushmen weren't the same, because they weren't stacking 4 and 5 stars left and right, and that caught up with them a little bit because Potter's, Noah Potter's hurt and he's not out there, and Jacoby Cowan got hurt and wasn't able to fulfill that potential. They missed on a couple of guys. Well, now that's caught back up, and you're talking about JT Tuimoloau and Jack Sawyer and Caden Curry and Mike Hall and Ty Hamilton. Suddenly it's a lot harder for these guys to come back in. So that's, again, not a surprise, but certainly somebody with that, positional versatility that Noah Potter had could have supplied some depth. But in terms of the actual, two-deep regular rotation depth chart, nothing that's happened for Ohio State in the portal is a surprise or going to change that moving forward.
Yeah, I think you're going to see more of this. If you're not in the 2-deep, you're going to want to get in the 2-deep somewhere. And so you move on. And I think that's bad for just about everybody, because if you're not in the 2-deep at Ohio State, then you're going to transfer down to –
Well, what does it really mean to be in the 2-deep?
No, yeah, but if you are –
Because when you have hyphenated a slash –
That means half the roster, though. I mean –
Yeah, if you're
44 guys should be in the 2-deep. And here now, because all the slashes, it's really about 63. So if you're not there, you're a true freshman who's probably not going to play a redshirt, or an older guy who's on their way out.
Yeah, exactly. But the thing that I find interesting about the May 1st deadline, and I'm sure some coaches will have mixed opinions on it, because I think about a school, it's weird, but Coastal Carolina finished spring practice in February. They just did them all
What
in 2
is
weeks.
that? That's not the spring. That's
they did them all.
practice.
They did them all in 2 weeks and got out of there. And so then you have 3 whole months to enter the portal.
There's
after
literally
that.
not enough days. 2 weeks, it's a 7-week day. Assuming you went every single
did
day
that?
without breaks. Coastal Carolina,
yeah.
you get 15 practices, so that's still 1 extra day. So they leave one out there on the table.
Apparently, we're not doing our spring game. It's past the 2 weeks.
Clemson was done really early. Some of these schools are pushing spring practice up and just getting it done. And I think there's going to be mixed feelings on this deadline on when exactly it's going to be. But also, they're not the
Are people pushing it up, you think, so that they can see who they have and then get a look in the portal?
Look at the portal and see what they need to
The
replace.
transformational committee that's led by, I think, the
Transformation.
guy at Notre
That
Dame and
is-
the guy in the SEC,
Coach,
they're not
That's an oxymoron to have.
they're
That's
not taking any new rule change recommendations next year while they still work on this transformational thing. So I think we're going to be stuck with this May deadline for a couple years.
That's not terrible.
I think the May one is fine. In fact, I would say it should stay in May, but maybe May 15th, because just last weekend, you're talking about Notre Dame finishing up, LSU, USC, Oklahoma. I mean, they were 1 week behind.
We used to
Ohio
finish
State's.
up next week.
That's right.
This week was usually the draft day.
And since not everybody's on the same schedule, if it's sort of like the draft decisions. If you play in the title game, then the guys, they already had to do that because they have 2 days to declare. If you just finish spring ball on Saturday or the week before, and then your guys are leaving, you're having your meetings, saying here's your situation. What do you want? Are you going to go? What do you want to do with your next step? Here's the reality for you, and you're having those conversations. Well, what are we at? I mean, you have 6 days.
It's gonna be May.
It's gonna be May.
It is gonna be May.
Very soon. So that's a compressed timeline for them. Compressed if you're starting to look at how that impacts you want to bring somebody in, which Ohio State will almost certainly be doing at this point based on where those scholarship numbers are. We'll see how that transpires over the days ahead. But I think you have to have some deadline because you can't let free agency go all the way into August 15th.
Well, you can't manage your roster. You have to know, do we have spots? Do we not? Who's leaving? Got a backup tackle. It's all right, I'm out of here. I thought I was going to be the starter. Okay, well, now we have another scholarship. Where do we give that? So we get in the portal, go try to find somebody else? I mean, it's just
to have a body?
It's a bad model of how they've set it up. So they need to continue. The idea is great, but they need to continue to kind of hone that thing down.
But the other side of that is if you think that you're in that conversation, and then on May 4th, Ohio State goes out and adds, a piece that they think they might need to help bolster everything, then you're almost stuck because you can't go in the portal and play the next fall. And so you got to go back to your program. And so it's a good thing to have
back to reality.
It's a good thing.
There goes gravity.
I mean, you can't go back to your place, though, can you? I mean, there's a chance you can't go back.
Well, if you're not in the portal yet, I'm saying if you think you're in that conversation, then they add somebody. And so that's why, of course, there's going to be unintended consequences of everything. But overall, I think the good
can't the transformational committee handle all that?
Oh, they should be able to. You would think. But I think the good outweighs the bad with this deadline.
What numbers are we at Ohio State-wise? scholarship? Do you know?
If
off
you
the top of your head?
counted just the official portal entries, you would get to a number that is 85 right now. I think that number will be lower. I think part of that is Marcus Crowley weighing the future with his injury. I believe that there's a likelihood of him being medically disqualified moving forward as he's dealt with those knee injuries one on top of the other. So Ohio State will be under the threshold now, as there was never any reason to worry about it. It was always going to work out. I think I always get amused by like stressing on signing day. Oh my gosh, they're 6 over. Like, have you ever seen how college football works? Like, this is not. It won't even.
Have you ever followed Nick Saban?
It won't even. It won't even go till August. It's going to be resolved by the end of spring ball. I promise you. And it was. And there may still be 1 or 2 decisions to be made before May 1st. We'll see if that does wind up being the case for Ohio State. But they're under, and they have the flexibility, I believe, at this point now to add if they so choose. And that could be looking at tight end. It could be looking at an offensive lineman, as you said, Jay-Z. There could be a surprise position that potentially emerges in the days ahead. We'll see.
Surprise.
One you wouldn't think of, perhaps, but
Quarterback?
Punter.
no, it's not going to be quarterback.
Well, that was one I wouldn't think of.
Jay-Z's-
That's why I was
Jay-Z's
surprised.
Kicker from USC that
Oh.
was here and said, we don't have that many people for our game.
I have no comment about that, Jay-Z. I don't know.
I didn't even know we had a dude from USC.
I didn't
saw
either.
that.
I don't think he's not on the team, right? He was just visiting?
He was
Did I
visiting.
take
He's
that
in the
right?
transfer
He's
portal
in the
from
portal.
USC.
Gotcha.
He's got some.
Oh, so he didn't kick in the game.
He
No,
did
no,
not
no,
kick
no.
in
He
the
just
game.
said-
and
he just
and
said
neither
after
did
the
Noah
game.
Ruggles.
Well, yeah.
Neither one was out there. So
So I was like, dude, I'm trying to think. I'm like, I don't.
have you ever heard? I have never heard of this in my
No.
20 plus, however long it is now, years covering
Story
college football.
career.
A gap year for a college football player like Noah Ruggles, just hanging out surfing in spring, not going through classes or maybe taking them online. I don't know.
He was in Hawaii.
He was in Hawaii
So
for
he
a while.
didn't practice. He's on.
Didn't practice.
He
Like
did
the first
come
time.
back.
The first time I saw him all spring of any of the availability or open practice was Saturday, not in uniform, just hanging out with the boys because he'd not been here. I'd never heard of a gap year for a college football athlete. Now, obviously, if you're an offensive lineman or a quarterback or a linebacker, you're not going to take one of those. But like kicker, he's like,
Kickers are they
cool,
can be
man.
weird, man.
I'm hanging out.
How does that work?
I'm
We
going.
used to have 4 to. You had 5 to play 4. I don't know what the rules are now, but yeah, I guess you in theory you could take.
He already
a year off.
graduated, so
Already graduated plus COVID.
Well, yeah, he graduated before he came here, right?
Yeah. Just going surfing, bro.
Whoa, that's wild.
Cool buzz and some tasty waves.
Hang 10, dude. Let's go.
Imagine taking advantage of that. If you just skipped spring ball entirely,
And then he's going to come back and be on the team this fall.
going to be back.
it was basically like skipping OTAs.
Unless he's having such a good time surfing and gets like a pro deal to hang out in Hawaii. Like, I don't know how good of a surfer he is.
Gotta do less. Do more.
less.
Do less.
Well, you got to do something, Jason.
You gotta do something.
Can't just lay there.
Sadness in your eyes.
Oh, Piope.
I heard when you go to Hawaii, you quit wearing a watch.
Yeah. Well, you got a phone. That's not really
Yeah,
the same.
you
is
got a
it?
phone.
I just watched that on Friday night. It's-
Really?
I'm
Whenever
glad
it's
one of
on, you got
it's
it.
one of
I mean, it's
like
one of
5
those.
movies that Jay-Z knows.
Exactly.
Like, I got to watch this again.
Do less.
It's so good.
Do more.
Not
mean,
doing anything.
Why, you got some?
The whole thing is so good. So we've solved the transfer portal problems. Is that it?
Inside of you?
I think May 15th is the best date for that.
Inside you.
It's
Oh, I'll take my eyes, but not the shirt.
forgetting Sarah Marshall is really one of the
It's a good one.
unsung.
Just went from 6 to midnight here.
Exactly.
I also just watched Just Go With It, which I also think is a
I
good
really
Hawaii
like-
movie.
No, you don't want to talk about movies
that's-
with chives.
I like that
No,
movie.
Just
Go
go
with
with
it's
it.
good.
Oh, is that Adam Sandler?
That's like
oh,
that's
that
like
waterfall scene. Forget about it. I know that one.
that's like one of the that's like one of his later ones he's done that hasn't.
Oh,
been
all he
terrible.
does is like go to awesome places and shoot a movie. Hey, my
Nicole-
buddies are gonna come with me.
Nicole's favorite movie, now we know, is Draft Day. And Chive's favorite movie is Due Date.
No.
Oh,
Due Date.
due date. I don't.
So
remember
let's
that one.
not talk movies with this guy.
No, there's 3 Hawaii movies that I always think of the rom-coms. It's Forgetting Sarah Marshall, 50 First Dates, and
51st
and Just Go With It.
And
Yeah, I like 50 First Dates. That's a good.
Yeah.
He's trying to dodge the due date situation over here.
due date.
was
Who was
bad-
in due date?
We're not going to talk.
Robert Downey and Zach Galifianakis.
Sounds like a great combo.
It's not.
No.
Doesn't work the way you think that it might.
It's not good.
With like the first road trip that Spencer ever got to go on with me and Berm, we're like, all right, here you go. You get
time to shine. What do you got for us?
We're going to do road beers. All right. 5 desert island movies that you're taking.
I misinterpreted.
And he started with Schindler's List.
No, I named my 5.
Schindler's List. 5 movies that you can watch for the rest of your life. Schindler's List.
Well.
And Due Date are in the 5. I'm like, what? Is it too late?
I misinterpreted the question. It was in a drunken stupor.
Maybe
we hadn't even started drinking yet.
That's not true.
Maybe he had Schindler's List on there for when he wanted it to end. That was going to be his.
Yeah, that was his last one.
His hype movie.
He goes up on the mountain.
He's like, that's it. I'm going to get so depressed.
Jumps off.
Watch something that's just the worst parts of humanity to realize I don't want to be alive.
Golly.
I mean,
go up there with Wilson and jump off.
So I started the list. Listen, I started the list by naming like 5 like all-time great movies, which I think that movie is. And then I like.
What were the other 3?
Yeah.
Well, like my favorite all-time.
Because after that and this baby one,
my
Due
favorite
Date.
all-time movie.
Oh gosh.
Is Forrest Gump. So that was.
I'm not gonna.
It's got a great soundtrack, if nothing else.
I love me some
just
Forrest Gump.
Play it in the back. I love it.
So I started naming like those, and then they started making fun of me. So I like panicked. I transitioned into like movies like my friends and I would like watch.
You went with Forrest Gump, and then you panicked to Due Date.
No, we let him finish the 5.
Oh.
Because I wrote them down.
I
kept them for a long.
Kept receipts.
Yeah, I was like, this was on here, and I'm like, are you sure? Schindler's List is what you want to rewatch?
You were making out during Schindler's List
for the
Jerry.
You were necking for the rest of your life. Schindler's List.
I redid the entire list.
Oh, you got it written down here?
What else was on there?
Oh, he might have it written down. Yeah, you stopped at Forrest Gump.
I don't know if I have it anymore.
They were all. He was
Made in Manhattan.
Yeah, he was just. It was like 4 Academy Award-winning movies, and then Due Date, and we're like, so let's set aside
American Beauty was on there.
Oh god.
So let's set aside
No Citizen Kane.
Schindler's List for a second, and let's figure out why Due Date is on here as well. These are 2 separate issues,
Jeez.
but both are
In different
concerning.
ends of the spectrum, no doubt.
They're,
They really are.
Golly.
Yeah.
Hot Rod was on there. We gave you
Hot Rod wasn't there.
we gave
I
you
love Hot
credit.
Rod.
We gave you credit for that one.
I
But
do
I think
love Hot Rod.
you picked that just to fit in.
No. I love Hot Rod. I've liked Hot Rod for a long time.
That's what we do on the road.
Whiskey.
Whiskey.
Gosh,
Why am I saying what way?
Yeah.
It is so dumb. It is kind of fun.
It's time to wrap it up.
Yeah, fair enough.
I knew that we would get off the rails. Berm's not even here to help, but I
Schindler's List and Due Date.
pushed it across the finish
Yeah.
line.
We made
Hey, if you have 5 desert island movies,
Let us know.
hit us up with those. Drop them in the comments. Like and subscribe.
Tell your friends.
Yeah, we don't do that here. But yeah, we want to know your 5 movies, and if you agree with Spencer, and you can just go.
I'll find the list.
I'll find the list. I've got it.
He's
somewhere.
got it.
There's no way that I would let that go unchecked permanently. And we can talk about that at lettermenrow.com on the message boards. And Spencer will be right there to defend his selections to the death.
I will not defend any of them.
We appreciate Nicole Cox, as always, for having us in for Lettermen Live at Roosters. It's a fun casual joint. Appetizer Tuesday this week. One of the best you'll ever find.
Yeah.
$2.
Show that big one, Spence.
He's got the
That's
double.
what she said.
Oh, don't expect it, but you might get one.
Well, you gotta be prepared.
You gotta be here.
And that's a show right there. That's JZ, Bob, Spencer. I am Austin. This has been another episode. I can definitely say that for sure. Of
was.
Lettermen Live. We'll see you next week at Rooster.